If you're an elder like me, you probably learned to draw from long-form YouTube videos. However, nowadays, beginner artists are probably learning from TikTok, and today I have reinstalled it to find out if the art community is doomed forever. Okay, let's get into it.
Pick any hard brush. If you smudge with it, it usually looks like this. But if you change this setting to max, it will come out as whatever.
That's actually quite helpful. I didn't know that. I think this is really helpful. However, if you are doing this, be careful because you might not have enough color in your art. I don't know if that makes sense. This person has clearly added a lot of different hues into their shading already, so doing this won't necessarily harm their art. Also, I think this might result in overblending. I used to definitely do this when I discovered the blending brush. I just blended everything and it didn't look good.
Oh my God!
This looks really good. Let's see how to do this. Start with... I'd say that's pretty good. I like how they created a really rough sketch. They made sure that that was quite well proportioned and then they went in with the detail to make it a good looking drawing. I think that's a general good rule for studying. You want to draw something really rough and then refine it if you want, but the goal of the study should be to just get the proportions and the line of action correct.
Basic sketch tips. Make sure you have a pencil brush with the opacity at 50 or below. Trace references as practice. This will help you break references down into shapes easier and
I know they mention breaking things down into shapes, but they don't actually do that. Whenever I've seen professional artists do studies through tracing, they really break it down into shapes. Here they are just outlining the drawing, and I'm not saying this isn't completely unhelpful, and what they come out with in the end is actually quite nice, but I think if you're trying to study through tracing, just drawing the shapes would be a lot more helpful because you can then draw them without a reference or with a reference but without tracing, and you can actually remember those shapes. If you do this a bunch of times, you might remember how to draw a side profile, but even then you'll still struggle to draw it without tracing or without a reference because your brain can't remember all of these little nooks and crannies.
help your line confidence.
Alright.
You'll learn how to stabilize your hand and use fewer strokes.
That's true. That's true.
Don't trace every single feature, just the general ones. Double lines where you think it will look good. Don't think too hard on it. Sketches are spontaneous and fluid. When drawing hair, don't draw every strand.
I'm really cool with this sketch. Is that too far? Is that too picky? I'd say it's like a liner more so, but
Focus on the silhouette. Simplify the front strands and back. On the inside, pick and choose what strands you want to keep. Duplicate your layer and adjust the opacity on the layer on top to whatever percentage. I usually keep mine around 30 to 50.
Okay.
Outline your sketch by making your pencil bigger and the opacity 100. Line weight helps make your sketch have depth. Add line weight where 2 points meet and anywhere you want to define. Duplicate the outline layer and set the top layer opacity to around 30-50. Let's add some extra stuff and fix some things. I like to add a lot of geometric shapes and crosshatch.
that looks quite nice. Well, as you can see, the end result does look good, but I don't know if I would recommend this if you're trying to learn to draw, necessarily. Okay, this looks cute. That's good, they're using a lot of guidelines. That forehead's looking a bit small though. Oh well, okay, they fixed it, they added a bit more. I guess they add the... That looks really good. Maybe the eyes are a little bit close. Yeah, it looks good, it looks like they know what they're doing. Ooh. Yeah, I would recommend this. I've seen a lot of very early beginners do really thick, really defined lines to begin with, and that isn't really helpful because you often don't put them in the right place and you can't erase them and you're really stiff. Like your actual wrist and your line work is really stiff, so doing sketchy lines is really good. However, there is the kind of flip side of that. If you continue doing really sketchy lines, you're not really learning where you should be placing things, because there's that ambiguity. That's fair. That's true. Oh, okay, I thought their eyes were a little bit far apart, but I realise now the face is a lot bigger. I just thought they'd make really big eyes because of their style. Ooh, she's cute. She's cute. I like it. That's really cool. I never thought of doing that. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. Again, this is creating visual confusion for both the viewer and you as the artist. So her legs are different lengths in that sketch, and I feel like that could have been avoided if they paid closer attention to the reference and broke it down into shapes. Yeah, I don't think drawing squares for everything is helpful. I think drawing simple shapes or 5-sided, 6-sided shapes is the best. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I'm sorry.
If you have beautiful sketches but absolutely hate the thought of doing line art, try lightening your sketch and focusing on just the bits that need refinement. Not only will this preserve the energy of your initial idea, but I've found it also helps improve your ability to make cleaner sketches in general, because you start looking at the sketch as a part of the final piece rather than just a temporary step. For that nice polish, I just merge everything and start rendering on top. It's essentially a more painterly approach to art, skipping the line art.
I think this is really helpful. I'm someone who often doesn't do line art. I often just skip to rendering, and I found that it has made me a bit more lazy with my sketches sometimes, but if you're treating it as line art in some way, I feel like that might motivate me to make better sketches. And I do really like the refining the some parts of it first. I think I haven't thought of doing that. I have just skipped to rendering, and sometimes I've just kind of had to redraw bits. So definitely give this a go.
How to draw buildings? Well, you just plop down a cube, cut some square holes in it, slap a door in front, and add a roof on top. You pretty much have a one-story building. But if you want to go a bit further than this level, try to look at buildings a bit differently. Imagine their foundation, which may or may not be peeking out, revealing small windows for the basement level, due to which you have small steps leading to the building's main entrance, which is usually centered to the building, depending on its design. And it's not just a square hole.
I think this is really good advice for just drawing in general. A lot of beginners, myself included, don't necessarily think about the practical aspect of their drawing, and that often impacts how they look. As humans, we can often tell when something has no purpose. That's why a lot of very obvious embellishments that don't serve a purpose kind of look off or cheap. You need to think about what the purpose is of each aspect of your character design or of your building design. Ooh, cool. Oh, cute. No, I'm kidding. This is actually probably really helpful. I was just really excited about the post-it notes. Oh, the good old hairspray. I remember in art class we'd always have a hairspray bottle and it would be really sticky. Yeah, acetone and alcohol always work for taking off paint. I would not have many of my brushes if this didn't work. Oh, that is a really helpful website. yeah, I've got nothing else to say. That's a really good website to use in general. I really like how on that website you can adjust what kind of models you want and what levels of nudity you want. Yeah, it's really helpful. And I believe that is everything I have saved for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!